What's a happening YouTube? This is John nerding out with cards, and I'm doing another video response to Jayhawker Cards. Now he didn't pose this as a VR, but he was talking about loving your vintage collection, and you've heard me talk about several times if you've been following my videos about, I collect low grade cards. And so I wanted to, kind of go along the lines with what he was talking about, right? His Sandy Koufax that he showed was graded or assigned a 1 by SGC. Um, and, what he was trying to get at was, trying to, if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? Maybe that's not for you, right? So you're watching all the Strongsville videos and what have you, and everybody's caught up in the eye appeal and this and that and centering and whatever the case may be. Maybe that's what's preventing you from getting on YouTube, right? It's like if you're collecting low grade cards, why would I get on the YouTube and show that? Well, I'm here to tell you, he showed some great cards on his video. I highly recommend you check that out. I'm gonna, put his YouTube link down below in the description. So I highly recommend you check that out. He does some SGC reveals if grading is your thing. But, so I'm going to highlight some low grade vintage / pre-war cards within my collection that I love that fit perfectly, and I'll along the way talk about why I collect the low grade stuff that I do. So first, you've seen this, Jayhawker. He's a fellow 48 Mutual Clubby rookie card of Stan the Man, and you can see I got some tape on the front. Assign 1. Expected, right? I talked about that before. Back is super, super clean. And maybe that tape to you might be distracting to where you wouldn't want that in your collection. But to me, it's not, it's like somebody at some point in time, I think, put this into an album, taped it, and I think it's phenomenal, right? I bought this ungraded. I think I mentioned that before. And it had the tape marks on the front. And that's what allowed me to get this card cheaper. I'm not complaining about that, Here, what is, in my opinion, the best looking Stan Musial card. And that's 52 Bowman. And it's got a crease going along that way. And you can already see the grade there. Graded this myself. An expected 1. Again, the back is super clean, so I can read all the description, all the great stuff that they had to say about Stan the Man. And, the thing is, I graded these knowing they would come back as 1s just because I respect the cards so much. Grade didn't matter. It's the simple fact that I own the card, and that's what matters. I'm going to move on to another card I graded myself, and it's got a few creases. I don't not so sure they're going to show up. But, you know, you got this 1950 Chief Petty Officer Feller. Again, back is super clean. I can read everything. You know, but I bought this and figured it was going to come back the grade that it did. An expected one from SGC. Now, like for me, and the registration isn't tremendous, but this is my favorite image of Chief Petty Officer Feller's cards. And so that's why I targeted this card. You know, it was low grade according to the seller. And I picked it up super cheap. And I got this amazing Chief Petty Officer Feller 1950 Bowman card. Absolutely awesome. And I am stoked to own these 3 cards. Absolutely stoked. I'm going to go, you know, you've heard me talk about how I target low grade cards for my Cardinals Hall of Fame museum collection. And I'm going to highlight a few of those. You know, like this one, like I own a Playing Days Rogers Hornsby card. Yeah, it's beat up. Okay, so what? You know, these batter up cards, you know, they're the pop out kind of thing. But I wish I could thank Sally for writing their name on the back of this card and making it cheaper. Amazing. I own a Playing Days Rogers Hornsby card cheaper because somebody put their name on the back. Phenomenal stuff. Another card I think about is, you know, those double play cards, right? They had 2 players on the card. Well, sometimes I guess people didn't like the other player that was on the card. And so I got this Johnny Mize. Kind of infamous when you really think about it. You know, Johnny Mize was on 2 double play cards. One was with him and Nina Slaughter. Phenomenal card. Would love to own it someday, but it's kind of expensive, you know, having 2 Cardinals Hall of Famers on it. And then the other one, I apologize. I don't remember who was the other player on this card, but somebody at some point in time split the card in half. Well, that works out for me, right? Because Enos Slaughter has Topps cards, and for this collection, I collect first Topps cards of the Cardinals players. So cool, he has one, but I wanted a Cardinals card of Johnny Mize, and I got this cheaper because somebody split the card in half. At some point in time, don't know, don't care, you know. So it's super low grade. This is, what would this come back as? An authentic or something? Don't care. You've seen me highlight this card before, but I got this, you know, Diamond Stars Ducky Medwick, and I'm not so sure if all the creases can come out in this video. But what would this card cost if it wasn't for the creases? Well, a lot more than I paid for it. And I want it for my binder, right? I want to, you know, take a field trip to the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. And I got the Joe Ducky Medwick. recently you saw Redneck Collector, get a 49 leaf Marty Marion. His was a super sharp copy. Well, this is my copy. Yeah, look at those edges. But at the same time, I got a 1949 Mr. Shortstop card, because that's what his nickname was when he played. $10. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. I'm gonna show maybe a few more. I don't know. But think about an iconic card, right? And like I said, this is a binder collection. This isn't for grading. And what's the most expensive Topps rookie card for the Cardinals? Well, you'd be hard pressed to get a different opinion than this Bob Gibson. Ungraded. Look at those edges. Look at those corners. But at the same time, I paid a lot less for it. And I'm the proud owner of a Bob Gibson rookie card. Everybody's trying to find one that meets their eye and eye appeal and this, that, whatever. Well, I have one. And I think that's tremendous. Look at this. We got a very important player within Major League Baseball history, Curt Flood. Yeah, you can see that, I don't know what it is, print mark or this, that, whatever. But I got a Curt Flood rookie card. Absolutely amazing. And if I were to get this graded, a high grade, this, that, whatever, it'd be so much more expensive, right? But at the same time, I have a Curt Flood rookie card. That's phenomenal. Let's move on. What about this Pepper Martin? You might have seen this in a previous video, but look at this staining. Look at the staining on this card. This is from, 1934 to 1936, the Diamond Stars? 90-year-old card. And I own one. Phenomenal. Let's flip through this binder some more. Right? Oh, you're going to see this one again. But look at this. I'm going to show the back first. Tip Top Bread. You can see the creases already, huh? How about this? Whitey Kurowski. You can see the creases on the front too. Shoot. Class of 2024. Cardinals Hall of Fame. And that's just, I filled out this binder with that. I think I got another one that you all will love, especially low-end collectors. Hopefully the crease comes out in this, but Ted Simmons, 1971. Oh, you might be able to see the crease right there. Ah, there we go. Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. His biggest crime was not being Johnny Bench. And it didn't help his case that Whitey Herzog wanted to move him out from catcher to first base, and then Keith Hernandez to the outfield. And Ted Simmons said, "Nope, I'm a catcher." And so Herzog brought in Darrell Porter, shipped off Ted Simmons to the Brewers. They met in the World Series, and ironically enough, Darrell Porter was the World Series MVP. But Ted Simmons, well deserving of the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, great catcher. So that's where a lot of my low grade cards come into play. But yeah, Jayhawker, with his video about low grade cards, and I'm trying to find another one. My kids came down here and was playing with my cards. But yeah, here's another one that you saw. My Red Shandy's rookie card. It's got those soft corners and things like I showed before. But interestingly enough, this is considered a high number for the 48 Bowman set. But like I said, it's a Red Shandy's rookie card. Baseball luminary. In my opinion, but yeah, if I didn't collect low grade cards, I would have less cards. There's some notable ones. Let me see if I can find them in my Ken Boyer collection. What about this right here? I got a Hank Aaron. Card. Well, it's a Ken Boyer card. But somebody was nice enough to put check marks on the back. It's cheaper. That might be the only one in that collection. But yeah, I got a Plain Days Hank Aaron card on a Ken Boyer card. It's phenomenal stuff. Like, I got it cheaper. I'm not gonna upgrade it at any point. But if, like I said, if you're watching all these videos and people looking for the eye appeal of a T206 or being picky about 54 Ernie Banks card or what have you, and you're just like, oh, well, that's not the kind of collector I am, or you're thinking that, why would I show my collection? It's embarrassing compared to what's here on the YouTube. It's just like, why worry about other people's collections? I mean, it's just like, I see other people's collections and it's just like, yeah, that's amazing stuff, I'm happy for them, if they get the card that they wanted and things like that. But, like, I'm happy for the cards that I get when I get them. I got these two ungraded. I knew what they were going to come back graded. Why did I grade them? It's just like, I have a lot of respect for these cards. I love these cards, and that's why I had them graded. I knew they were going to come back as ones. Didn't care if they came back as ones. They could come back as authentics or whatever, but they're my copies. My copies. I don't care what anybody else has. If they're showing off their Musial in a 4, good for them. Honestly, good for them. This is mine. I love it. I hope they love theirs as much as I love mine. Same thing with this 52. What about this? What about this Bob Feller? Like I said, it's my favorite image of Bob Feller's cards. So if somebody else has a 5, good for them. I hope they're happy with it as much as I'm happy with this one. Maybe maybe people don't grade their cards and they keep their cards in a binder. And what if somebody's looking for a Plain Days Hornsby or something like that, and they're looking for these super obscure sets, but then they stumble upon this 54? What when I bought this Hornsby, what was I looking for? I was looking for the Gouty, right? That's the one that I know of, or I knew of. And then I stumbled upon this batter up. And then, like I said, fucking Sally, she was nice enough to write her name on the back of this card. And sure, it's not a Cardinals card. It's a Browns card. Browns don't get enough respect for their time in St. Louis, their place in baseball history. And I got a Plain Days Rogers Hornsby card. I mean, amazing stuff. So, if you're worried about keeping up with the Joneses, if you're worried about what your grades are compared to other people's, if you're worried about the size of your collection, the quality of your collection, don't worry about it. Your collection is your collection, just like my collection is my collection. And be happy with your collection, right? If you want more cards, of course, accumulate more cards. If you want better condition cards, well, you get what you pay for, right? If I wanted better condition cards than what I got now, I would have less cards, right? So to Jayhawker Vintage cards, I really appreciate the video that you put out, right? I've mentioned in my videos, I collect low grade cards, and this is just a great way to highlight them. So thank you. I hope you check this out. And then to everybody else, do you collect low grade cards? If you do, why? If you don't, I respect that, of course. But why don't you? I am fortunate enough that I am not afflicted with a refined palate. I appreciate these low grade cards. I love these low grade cards, and they fit within my collection. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and you all have a good one.